Imagine you're drinking a tasty glass of red wine or white wine, and you probably think of yourself on holiday in Spain or Italy or perhaps in France. However, we are currently in the Netherlands, and not just in the Netherlands, we are in Wageningen itself, and we're standing on a vineyard in Wageningen right next and behind us. We are Group 2 and we want to investigate whether it is possible to create a vineyard on the Sandr Plain. And now we will take you on a quick tour to the Sandr Plain itself. Will you come with us?
So now we're on the Sandr Plain, and especially for Roel, we will now first take you for 360. To be a little bit more precise, we're now here where the red dot is indicated. And this area originated a long time ago during the Salian Ice Age, almost 200,000 years ago. The glacier formed a push moraine near Wageningen, and in the end of the Ice Age, when the ice started to melt, it took sandy deposits to the valley here. And then during the last Ice Age, the Weigelian, the soil was frozen, so the water could not infiltrate anymore, and the water ran off to the sides where small brooks originated. Then a lot later there was a lot of paper industry here, and humans dug artificial sources called sprangen and more brooks to make sure they could build water mills for more energy and for the paper industry. Now there's a lot of activity here. You have beautiful nature areas like this, but also some farmlands and even a golf course.
To answer our main question, we first have to investigate our 4 sub-questions. Firstly, we need to decide which grape we want to grow and what its specific requirements are. We chose the Cabernet Cortis, which is a black colored grape. The main reason why we chose this grape is because it is very resistant to the diseases, especially to downy mildew, which is a fungi that occurs a lot in the Netherlands. The second reason why we chose it is because this grape grows in temperate regions in the northern hemisphere. Therefore, it will need less hours of sunlight than, for example, a grape you find in Italy or in Spain. The minimum temperature it needs to grow is 10 degrees Celsius on average, but its optimal grow is around 30 degrees. To increase the solar radiation the vine gets, it is possible to put it on a slope inclinated towards the sun. Moreover, to produce a wine that is qualityful and tasteful, the grape has to suffer. With suffering we mean exposing the vine to a slight water deficit. Therefore, vineyards are often found on well-drained soils with a low water table. However, this does not apply for young vines because their roots are not developed enough, so these ones have to be watered. Last but not least, there is the wind element. Grapes need some wind because it's important for aeration. This will prevent diseases to spread easily, but there is also a threshold value for wind. For the Cabernet Cortis, when a wind speed of 4.4 meters per second is exceeded, this will cause damage to the vine.
So now you know everything about what our grapes need, and I will now tell you about the current conditions here on the Sandr Plain. First of all, the soil has a really low pH and is therefore very acid. Also, there's not a lot of soil organic matter in here, and therefore it's quite poor sandy soil. To make sure there would be enough nutrients for our grapes, we used a dry deposition model to see the atmospheric deposition. Furthermore, we also used the aqua check test strips to see how much nutrients there would be from the rainwater and also from the brook system here behind me. This is because the groundwater table is very deep here. We think we can use the water to irrigate for the vineyard, and this will also add some more nutrients. Lastly, we also use the Veenkampen weather station data to check if the climate conditions and the weather conditions were suitable for the grape to grow here. To make sure there is enough water, we use the brook system to irrigate the vineyard. To know how much water there is in, because now there is not a lot, we use the pull stick method. For this we drop the stick into the stream and we measured the time and the distance. We also measured the width and the depth, and with this we calculated the discharge, so we knew how much water there was in the system.
What are the effects of implanting a vineyard on this landscape unit, the Sandr Plain? Well, first of all, the water balance will change because the evapotranspiration will change. The evaporation is calculated by the crop factor multiplying with the reference evapotranspiration, and this leads to the actual evapotranspiration, or ET, that's shorter. The crop factor of grassland like this is 1, and the crop factor of a vineyard is between 0.15 and 0.5. So the actual ET will be much lower for a vineyard than for this grassland. And as a result, less water will percolate into deeper groundwater immediately, so more water is held in this area, and also roots of a vineyard will improve the soil structure and it will keep water in the top layer of the soil, so less water will percolate into the soil directly. The second effect of implanting a vineyard here in the Sandr Plain is that the water quality could deteriorate a little bit. Because we have to add fertilizer, an NPK fertilizer, this could leach into the groundwater table and this will deteriorate the groundwater quality. The third effect of implanting a vineyard on this Sandr Plain is the carbon sequestration and the soil organic matter, SOM. Well, the carbon sequestration of this grassland is 0.52 and the young vineyard has a carbon sequestration of 0.68, so that will increase quite a lot. The soil organic matter, SOM, will increase a bit because of the cover crops that grow between the rows of the vines, like we will show in this video.
Sub-question 2 showed us that the Sandr Plain has limitations. Therefore, in sub-question 4, we want to investigate if it's possible to make adaptations to increase the suitability of the Sandr Plain to grow a vineyard. A first problem is the acidity of the soil of the outwash plain. Liming is a current practice in the Netherlands to make the soil more alkaline. Liming is the practice of adding calcium carbonate to your soil. This could be done in our vineyard. Secondly, frost is a major issue. When frost happens during your flowering period, this can have devastating effects on the yield. Therefore, we did a field experiment with a thermal camera. Throughout the whole day, we measured the temperature of different surfaces. We came to the conclusion that when you add dark stones or even lighter stones, it increases the temperature of your vineyard. Stones absorb solar radiation during the day and will slowly release it during the night because they have a high specific heat capacity. They will heat the vine from below and therefore prevent frost. Besides helping against frost, they also increase the general temperature of the vineyard, bringing it closer to the optimal growing temperature. Next, the Cabernet Cortis doesn't like wind that is higher than 4 meters per second. Therefore, one could implement a hedge around the vineyard. We calculated that if you add a hedge of 2.5 meter height, it can decrease the wind by 20% over a length of 63 meters. This could be an option for a vineyard. However, the Sandr Plain also have some patches of forest. We could decide to implement our vineyard there, and so the forest will create a natural wind speed. However, the forest also provides shades which the vines do not really like. Another problem that occurs in the Sandr Plain is its very low nutrient status. Even if we decide to add water from the nearby brook that does contain nutrients, it will not be enough to provide enough nutrients to the vineyard. Therefore, fertilizers need to be added. If you're interested in the exact amounts that need to be added, we kindly refer you to our research report. Lastly, the Sandr Plain has a very low soil organic matter content of 3.5%. A practice to help this problem is adding strips with vegetation between your vines. As you can see behind me, they have one strip with herbs and low vegetation. If you walk to the next stripe, you will see that here they mow. Every year they will alternate, so next year they will have herbs here and there they will mow. This can help to improve the soil organic matter content. However, this method will only show results on a very large time scale.
Our main question: can a vineyard of the Cabernet Cortis grape be realized on the Sandr Plain near Wageningen? Well, having done all our research and having answered all our 4 sub-questions, we, Group 2, think it is possible to realize this plan. However, 3 big changes have to be made. First of all, the soil is very acid. That means that the pH value is very low. To solve this problem, we use liming. This means that you add calcium carbonate to the soil, which will increase the pH value and it's less acid. For this liming we need 6.8 tons per hectare to solve our problem. Secondly, the soil does not contain enough nutrients for growing the grapevines. So we need to add fertilizer. We need to add nitrogen and phosphorus because the wet and dry deposition don't give us enough nutrients too. We need 36 kilograms per hectare per year of a NPK fertilizer, and additionally we need approximately 110 kilograms per hectare per year of urea or ammonium to increase the nitrogen value. Thirdly, to grow the small grapevines to a mature state, they need a lot of water to grow. And this water isn't in our soil and it isn't raining enough in the Netherlands, so we use irrigation water from the Renkumsbroek system, which is luckily near our Sandr Plain. Having done these adaptations to our landscape, it is possible to create a vineyard on the Sandr Plain. So hopefully the Sandr Plain will soon look like this!
Thank you for listening to our presentation. We hope you enjoyed it. Anyways, we're gonna start the holiday with a fresh sip of wine. Cheers!